Hi everybody, Colin Stevenson here again, joined by my sensei, John Lenhart. Hi John, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
Very well, thank you. Now, today we have a slight curveball in terms of how we are going to introduce the video. We're going to talk about voting, because at this time of year, we're almost close to November, where there's going to be elections at certain parts of the world, especially in America, and it's about people, their behaviours, how they act, how they interact, and the possible effects if they don't do it properly. John, tell us some more, please.
So this topic involves several of the videos that you and I have done.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a whole bunch of links back to other videos. I'll be referencing a lot of the former videos. I think you don't need to watch them, but if you really want to get into this, and get down to this, it's all of these videos. It's all the bullying videos. It's the love, the forgiveness, the mercy, the karma, the justice. It's all involved in that. And I will tell you this, that, I've been working with a school district, and they're all resilient. They spent September getting resilient, and they're all saying, man, the world's a mess, but I'm fine. And they're starting to realize something you've said for years, Colin, is that your circumstances don't really determine your well-being. It's where you put your brain before the circumstances. And that's what these teachers and educators are learning right now, is I've been putting my brain in a good spot. Yeah, it's terrible what's going on. It's horrible. It's sad. But it's not making me sad. It's not, draining me. So the goal now is I'm trying to help these teachers get through October.
Yeah.
And the thing is that I would like to help everyone, because even if you're not in America, you're going to see all these posts on Facebook and LinkedIn about the election and distracting you. And I've actually taught this. I'm about to teach. I've taught this for like 12 years. So this is really to help everybody. It's something I've done. So the first thing we're going to cover is voting. Did you vote? You're bad if you didn't vote. And it's all this stuff. So let me help you sort out the voting situation, okay? Because remember, when it comes to a bully, if people start asking you about voting, you can ask them, why aren't you voting, or why are you voting? First, backward step, understand them. Why are they voting? Why aren't they voting? And explain to them, to their satisfaction, oh, so you're voting because of this. Oh, you're not voting. Do I understand you? That'll slow them down to whether you're voting or not. So now, first I want to help you defend yourself against these other people. Now for yourself, here's what I say to people. And I've had people tell me, like recently, I remember what you told me 4 and 8 years ago, and I'm still following this advice. So number one, if you don't vote, you cannot complain. So this is a justice or a karma situation. So if you don't have to vote, but realize if you don't vote and you complain for the next 4 years, you're opposing karma. You're opposing justice.
Yes.
Okay? Number two, if you vote for somebody and they lose, you can complain all you want.
Yes.
Number three, if you vote for someone and they win, you are responsible for what happens over the next 4 years. If it's a great 4 years, you're responsible for that. If it's a horrible 4 years, you're responsible for that. Karma will be against you if it goes bad. Karma will be for you if it goes good. So those are the simple rules about voting. Choose accordingly.
Yeah. Now, so at the moment, we're looking at, and it has been for the last few months, especially with people being locked down in cities and countries locked down, people have been constantly on the television, constantly on YouTube, constantly on the news, constantly on all of these things. And I believe that what's actually happened this year has been a lot more intense because of that. It's like the people can't get away from it in a lot of different ways. Every time they turn on any type of social media, like you say, the television or anything, that they're seeing this voting. So it's being drilled in how important it is, but it's also dividing more people because of the amount they're getting to see off the other side. And I find that's quite difficult. Not for me,
Right.
but other people.
Oh, I think it's difficult for everybody. It's difficult for me. And what I want to share with you is how to handle your thought process over this next month, especially what you just said with social media and television and everything else. So I want to preface all this by reminding you of a study, and I'd said this before, around 2004 election with Kerry and Bush in the United States, they had 24 Kerry supporters, 24 Bush supporters watch 4 video clips. Kerry had 2 clips where he contradicted himself. Bush had 2 clips. They put their brains under fMRI, and what they saw was when a Kerry supporter saw Bush contradict himself, when a Bush supporter saw Kerry contradict himself, a part of the brain that detects contradictions went off. So their brain worked in order to detect a contradiction. That's great. When the Kerry people saw Kerry's contradiction and the Bush people saw Bush's contradiction, that part of the brain wasn't even active. The brain did not wire. They rewired their brain not to check a contradiction. Worse, the part of the brain that rewards them for having checked for a contradiction went off. So these people have brain damage. These people think they checked a candidate for a contradiction, they didn't see it, and they rewarded themselves. So remember, when you're talking to supporters, if you think being logical with them is going to work, then you've got brain damage or you're deceived.
Yeah.
So this is not what this is about, and you know that. So let me take you through the steps that I use. And again, this goes back to communication guidelines. It goes back to dealing with the bully, everything. So when someone posts something telling me about this, this candidate is horrible or that candidate, is awesome or whatever, I like to ask them, why are you telling me about this? Why? And again, with the Karma Trillionaire, someone slaps you across the face. You don't punch me. You go, why'd you slap me across the face? If I knocked you down to the ground, Colin, and you got mad at me, then you found out, why did John knock me to the ground? I pushed you out of the way of a train.
Yeah.
I did you a favor.
Yeah.
So first question is always why. Now notice, we're getting karma to our back because if these people post something, they want some interaction, I ask them why and they don't answer, they're opening themselves up to just being destroyed from the inside.
Yes.
So why are you posting this to me? So that's the first question I tell people when someone posts something, why are you doing this? Okay. Most likely they're going to say to show you this person is a bad person or to show you this person. And I'm like, so you're trying to convince me of your position. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes. So now my second question, if I showed you the same thing about the you're against or the candidate you're for, would it convince you?
No, it can't.
We flip the pronouns.
Yeah,
so remember, back to this bullying, I flipped the pronouns. Would it convince you? Well, no. And then I like to up the ante. What would it take to convince you to change your mind? If they don't have an answer for that, or they'll say, I will never. So I can tell you the most horrible things about your candidate. You're just not going to change.
Yes.
Why do you think other people will change?
Well, they won't. They can't. It's because everyone's programmed very, very similar. And when they're in this kind of closed-minded, kind of one track, and they're not allowing the healthy interactions to come in to understand the other person, it's impossible. Because they're not allowing the other information to come into to go it's between good and bad or good and evil or or truth and lies. They can't differentiate.
Right. So it's at this point I tell people have pity on that person who posted.
Yeah.
That's not going to distract me. I have pity on them. You know what? Brain damage. They're setting themselves up for cancer, heart attack, stroke, depression, and they just needed to vent. They just needed to got to do something. Remember from our racism series, got to do something. I got to post something. All you're doing is showing me you are feeble-minded because your approach to change someone else's mind wouldn't work on you, which is brain damage or insanity. I feel bad for you. I feel sorry that you're posting this.
And people struggle with, when you give that pity, and it is pity, when you give that pity to this person because they have damaged their own brain, through their behaviours, their thoughts, etc., from moving forward. It's like they don't understand why you're being like that. So then this unconsciously kind of confronts them more, which which allows the energy to be off again. And I find it difficult to watch sometimes. I don't post about voting. I don't post. I don't even tell people my views on it because A, it's meant to be a personal thing anyway, and B, again, as you say, if I have something that I do, and I don't want everyone to know that I was that person and then come and attack me if it's the wrong decision that's been made and I made that. It's but by me discussing this with other people just for the sake of debate in the public, it's going to cause me hassle down the line at some point.
Right. So now you're broaching a really, important subject there, because the issue is that why would you bring that up? Again, I'm saying that I pity this person because they have an issue and they're bringing this up. Okay. But the thing is that why are they bringing this up? They're most likely trying to distract people. They're trying to distract themselves and distract others. Because here's the thing. If I said to that person, and I think you know this already, if I said to that person, what would it take to convince you? If I posted the same, in fact, some of these people do this, is they tell people who are a supporter of one candidate, the other candidate said this, and they go, that's right, that's horrible. So that's why you should vote against them. Right. Actually, your candidate said that. What do those people say? They go, oh, I'm going to vote for my guy twice as much.
Yeah.
Like, here's the reality. When I say to people, if I told you your candidate did that, what would you do? And they're like, I'd vote for him twice as much because I really hate the other candidate. So here's the thing. Is your posting bad things about the other candidate making the other candidate's supporters more likely to go vote?
Yes, and this comes from biased media. It comes from biased opinions. It comes from people not understanding.
So the supporter of candidate A is helping candidate B by trashing candidate B to candidate B's supporters. And now people who were thinking, I'm a supporter of candidate B, but I might not go vote. Oh, I'm going to go vote because you antagonized me. Congratulations, supporter of candidate A. You just helped candidate B get elected.
Yeah.
Is that your intention? So now you got karma going against you big time. But like I said, the reality is this, and this is what I want people to understand. When somebody's posting something for or against your candidate, you're now distracted. You're trying to live your life. Remember we talked about this with forgiveness. I'm trying to live my life and I'm trying to get back at this person. There's no way I'm going to flow. There's no way I'm going to be resilient. I'm done. This post is a distraction to me. So really, the person posting all this political stuff because they need pity is distracting me. They are taking me down. So this is why if you see it as pity, you can ignore it. You know who you're voting for. You just do your thing.
Yeah.
Okay. But here's the problem. Some of these people that are posting this stuff will say, I'm posting it so that you can spread it. So these people are distracting people and taking people's thought process down and making people less resilient and making people more ill. And they want to invite you to help them do that. That is where we get to the definition of evil. Yeah. Willful destruction. If you are going to start participating in actively taking other people's thought process down, the karma against you and the justice against you is ginormous at that point. Yeah. And that's really the last thing you want to do, is be part of let's spread all this word out. Come on, who's with me? Who has the courage to spread this stuff to distract everybody else in the world? I highly recommend thinking about whether you want to do that. Again, why are you doing what you're doing? Do you know why you're doing it? And would that work on you? Yep. That's that flip the pronoun. Otherwise, you're being a bully.
Yep. Now, just while you're talking about that there, I am obviously in Scotland and I watch what goes on over the water all the time because America's a big, powerful country. I've obviously got friends over there. I've got, you know, these type of things, and I need to know because it allows me to understand others so that I can join in conversations, you know, not provocatively or anything like that, just so I understand and I'm not lost. And I see lots of different divisions over there just now. And some are violent, some are not, some are just to plant seeds, some, you know, and there's lots of different categories. And I believe that they're put in because of people's unhealthy mindset from the beginning. And I think if people were to stop posting, and I don't mean this in a bad way, it's never going to happen, but if people were to stop posting and just do their own thing and not discuss it, would dissolve pretty much most of the issues because they wouldn't have any influence over the over the people.
Yeah, and this is kind of my summary point is this, is that, so I'm trying to help you, the viewer, navigate this. When you see a post, why are you looking at it? Is it to understand a fact and move on? Great. If that post is distracting you and causing you to get away from what you're doing in life, then you need to get rid of, you need to not look at the post, okay, if you can't manage that. I believe the way to dissolve it is to ask the person why they're posting.
Yeah.
I'm saying you should know why you're voting or not voting. You should be able to understand why you're reading this post and not reading this post. And then if you need to dissolve it, ask the person why they're doing it. And then this is what's going to help you keep your brain through October.
Yes.
But the reality is what's going to tear you down is all the thoughts and distractions and worry over something you really, really, really don't have control over.
Yeah, and most people don't have control over it anyway because it's got, and this is where they don't realize, and it's trying to control that intangible again. You know, trying to control the intangible, which means that you can't touch it, hold on, and keep it in one place. It's impossible. So you're fighting against the universe effectively, which makes it a lot more difficult. And I generally I send my love and my prayers over to everyone over in the US. Especially for this year's elections, and I hope everyone gets what they want, and the people that don't get what they want, they again find some sort of peace as well, because this is what we're all kind of looking for, you know. So just to finish up, is there any statements you would like to make to anybody about voting? One last final one.
My final conclusion would be this, is that, do you think the leaders we have had are an effect of people having logical and unique conversations and understanding each other? Or do you think it's been an effect of everybody being distracted and acting basically like animals?
That was a mic drop and a half. So I'm going to leave it on that, John. Thank you very, very much indeed. And I will be speaking to you very soon. Thanks, man. Take care.